Let me ask you a question you've probably been avoiding. What would your life look like right now if you stopped lying to yourself every morning? If you stopped saying, I'll start tomorrow, if I had more time, if I felt motivated, if life was easier? You've been waiting for the right moment to change. But what if I told you that moment already passed this morning, when your alarm rang at 5 a.m. and you snoozed your potential? See, the 5 a.m. rule didn't just build millionaires, it revealed them. Because the ones who get up when it's dark, they're not chasing money, they're chasing mastery. They're chasing the version of themselves you haven't even met yet. This is Fuel Your 6 a.m. And today, we're going to change the rhythm of your life from delay to discipline. Let's be real. You've got potential, but you've also got patterns. Patterns of hitting snooze. Patterns of excuses wrapped in self-care. Patterns of saying you'll do it when you feel better, but you never do. You want the crown, but you don't want the morning it requires. You think you need more motivation. You don't. You need more honesty. Because the truth is, you're not stuck. You're comfortable. You're not tired. You're undisciplined. You're not unlucky. You're unfocused. And I say this with love. You are the one in your way. Let that sink in. You're the gatekeeper of your greatness. Not your job, not your past, not your circumstances. If your future self could speak to you, they wouldn't beg for more chances. They'd beg you to stop wasting the ones you already have. Now let's talk about the 5 rules that built millionaires. These aren't secrets. They're not hacks. They're decisions. 1, they wake up on purpose. They don't wake up to scroll. They don't wake up to chase. They don't wake up reacting to the world's noise, emails, and everybody else's demands. They wake up to command the day. When that alarm rings at 5 a.m., it's not just a sound, it's a signal, a decision. It says, I run this, I own this, this life belongs to me. See, waking up early isn't just about beating the clock, it's about beating your old self, the version of you that kept pressing snooze on everything, your health, your goals, your potential. Millionaires, they don't rise early because they have it all together. They rise early because they're building something, brick by brick, morning by morning. They know if you let the world set your rhythm, you'll always feel late, always overwhelmed, always behind. But when you set the tone, when you wake up before the pressure, before the opinions, before the noise, you start to live from power, not panic. Let me ask you something. How do you expect to build peace in your life when you wake up into chaos? Your phone's lighting up, your brain's already racing, you haven't even touched the ground, and the day is already taking from you. Peace doesn't show up at random. You don't find peace, you build it. And you start laying that foundation in the first hour of your day, before the notifications, before the comparison, before the noise creeps in and convinces you you're already behind. This is what waking up on purpose means. It means you don't start the day reacting to life, you start leading your life. It means you wake up, take a deep breath, and choose your mindset before the world chooses it for you. It's journaling when you used to scroll. It's movement instead of mindless comfort. It's prayer instead of panic. It's focus over frenzy. When you wake up with intention, you stop living like life is happening to you, and you start living like life is happening through you. So if your mornings have felt out of control, if you've been waking up into stress, noise, and exhaustion, let this be your reminder. The peace you're craving, the clarity you need, the discipline you've been praying for, it starts before sunrise. It starts when you decide, I'm not just waking up, I'm waking up on purpose. Pause for a second. What does your first hour usually feel like? Not what you want it to be, but what it honestly is. You can share it below if you want, no judgment. You might be surprised how many people feel the same way. 2, they sit with themselves first, before the world, before the noise, before the rush of texts, deadlines, traffic, and tension. They sit with themselves. No distractions, no obligations, just presence. That's something most people avoid, because being alone with yourself, it forces you to face yourself. And that's exactly why the ones who grow, the ones who lead, the ones who win, they choose that silence on purpose. Not to be lazy, but to be clear. Prayer, journaling, breathing, thinking, just being. No filters, no performance, just you and truth. See, we live in a world addicted to stimulation. We consume before we even feel awake, scroll before we stretch, react before we reflect. And then we wonder, why am I so confused? Why don't I feel peace? Why can't I hear God? Why does everything feel so loud? Because you've never created room for the answers. You've never created space for direction. You keep saying, I don't know what to do. But the question is, when was the last time you actually sat in stillness long enough to listen? Millionaires, the ones who truly lead their lives, they don't chase clarity, they cultivate it. They build space into their mornings for self-awareness, not by accident, by design, because they know this.
If you don't start with yourself, you'll start with the world, and the world will pull you in every direction, but the one you were called to walk in. Sitting with yourself doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing the deepest work there is, checking your spirit, resetting your vision, centering your purpose. That's not weak, that's warrior behavior. Because the loudest voice you hear each day should be your own, not your timeline, not your emails, not your worries, your own voice. So here's the shift. Don't just wake up early, wake up and meet yourself. Not the version the world demands, the version you're building, the visionary, the leader, the calm in the chaos, the one who moves from clarity, not confusion. Sit with yourself and stay long enough to hear what the noise keeps drowning out. Because peace doesn't scream, it whispers. And if you don't slow down enough to listen, you'll miss the very answer you've been begging for. 3. They master the boring. Discipline isn't sexy, it's not flashy, it's not viral. You won't find it trending on your feed. But the ones who win, the ones who rise to the top, the ones who build a life that lasts, they master the boring. They don't chase motivation, they train consistency. Cold showers, reading the same paragraph 3 times just to understand it, planning out the same tasks every morning, stretching when no one's watching, sweating before sunrise while the rest of the world is still asleep. That's not punishment, that's precision. Because while most people are waiting for the perfect mood, the elite are mastering the perfect standard. You think greatness is built in grand gestures? No, it's built in the mundane, the overlooked, the daily, the boring. And here's the hard truth. If you can't stay focused when it's boring, you'll never survive when it gets hard. Everybody wants the result, but only a few can stomach the routine. That's what separates dreamers from doers. The dreamer says, this is too repetitive, this feels small, this doesn't matter. But the disciplined one says, this is where I grow, this is how I rise, this is the standard. Because your habits don't just shape your schedule, they shape your identity. If you only show up when it's exciting, you'll never become someone who can sustain success. Let me tell you something, champions don't just do what's hard, they do what's boring, again and again and again, until their standards become second nature. You think showing up to the gym when you're tired is strength. Try showing up when you're bored. That's another level. You think reading books when you're inspired is discipline. Try reading them when you'd rather scroll. That's growth.
You don't need a new morning routine. You need a new relationship with boredom. Stop asking, how can I stay excited? Start asking, how can I stay committed? Because the elite don't fall in love with motivation. They fall in love with mastery. And mastery is built in the moments no one sees. 4. They guard the first hour. The most successful people, the ones building meaningful, grounded lives, they don't just have mornings, they protect them. Because they know something most people don't. The first hour isn't just time, it's direction. Your phone, not the priority. The news, not the priority. Other people's opinions, definitely not the priority. They guard the first hour like it's a vault. Because it is. It's not just about peace and quiet, it's about ownership. Ownership of your attention, ownership of your emotions, ownership of your energy, before the world tries to steal it. Because here's what's true. Your mind is most open in the morning. It's soft clay, not yet hardened by the day. And whatever you let in during that first hour, it imprints. It sets the tone. It defines the rhythm of your decisions, your mood, your thoughts. Scroll first thing, and you train your brain to react. Check your email, and you become other people's to-do list. Let in noise, and you'll spend the day trying to find silence again. But meditate, pray, journal, move your body, read something that sharpens your mind. Sit with your thoughts instead of running from them. Do that, and something shifts. You stop reacting to life, and you start leading it. That first hour is your most strategic window. Not to do more, but to be clear. Because once the day starts rushing in, the texts, the deadlines, the noise, you need to already know who you are and where you're going. And that's not something you figure out on the fly. You build it in that first hour. So here's the rule. Win the first hour, win the day. Lose the first hour, and you're just playing catch-up all day long. You don't need perfect mornings. You need protected ones. You need to treat that first hour like it's sacred, because it is. If this is hitting deep, make sure you're subscribed. This is what we do here. We build mornings that build legacies. 5. They use pain as fuel. Pain is real, but it's not the end. The ones who rise at 5 a.m., they've got pain too, but they turned that pain into a plan. They stopped running from it and started running with it. Instead of asking, why me?
They asked, what am I going to do with this? And the answer was discipline, ownership, early mornings, quiet victories. Let's fast forward 6 months. Picture this. You wake up at 5 a.m. without a war in your head. You feel clear, grounded, strong. You've lost some weight, not just physical, but emotional. You're creating, not consuming. You're leading, not reacting. You're no longer drowning in regret. You're rising in results. The version of you that's already disciplined, already focused, already respected, that version is not far. They're one decision away, one morning away, one 5 a.m. away. Let me tell you something. I learned the hard way. Discipline is lonely. At first, you'll rise while others sleep. You'll eat clean while others binge. You'll train while others complain. But somewhere in that silence, you'll meet your real self. And you'll realize all the noise, the pressure, the doubt, it was never about them. It was about whether you'd finally choose you. Not the weaker you, the warrior you. You think this is just about you. It's not. Every morning you win. Your kids notice. Your partner notices. Your friends feel it. You become a standard, a signal, a blueprint. You don't just break habits. You break generational curses. You rewrite what's possible. You walk different. And people start to ask, how do you stay so focused? And you'll smile and say, I started owning my mornings. Pause here. Let that legacy hit you. Then hit that subscribe. This is more than content. This is commitment. So here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off at 5 a.m., get up. Not because it's easy, but because it's evidence. Evidence that you've changed, that you're serious, that you're no longer waiting to become who you already are. Every sunrise is a vote. Cast it wisely. You want peace? Rise. You want purpose? Rise. You want power? Then rise at 5 a.m. and build it. Because you don't become a millionaire by accident. You become one by beating the sun before the world gets a chance to beat you. Comment the one rule that hit you hardest. Let's build this together. Subscribe if this gave you fire. Because this channel, it's your daily wake-up call. This is Fuel Your 6 a.m. And tomorrow, you don't hit snooze, you hit legacy.